You could tell he was nervous, and he said it in the courtroom. He had asked to go to the bathroom. He was like, "Excuse me, Judge, I'm a little bit nervous." But you could tell at one point in time I saw, and I was watching him very closely, I saw like his hand shaking a bit.
For the first time in this case, Diddy is having a breakdown inside the courtroom, especially after the new evidence connecting him to the death of Kim Porter was presented by prosecutors. What was revealed in court actually has everyone shook and has detailed how Kim Porter was murdered by Diddy and his associates. Let me put you on game. The suspicious circumstances. If you've been living under a rock, Kim Porter was Diddy's ex and the mother of 3 of his children. She supposedly died of pneumonia in 2018, but was that really the case? According to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, Kim Porter died on November 15, 2018 at age 47 with lobar pneumonia listed as her cause of death. They certified it as natural causes. No foul play, case closed, right? Well, not so fast. The timing is super suspicious. Think about it. Kim Porter passes away, and then years later, Diddy gets hit with serious trafficking and racketeering charges. That's like finding out your neighbor who always seemed so nice was actually running an underground crime ring the whole time. The two events might seem unconnected, but let me tell you why people are connecting the dots. Al B. Sure, Kim's ex-husband and father of her son Quincy, has been sounding the alarm for years. In a recent Fox 5 New York interview, he straight up said,
"He was in the best of health. We just saw each other prior to her passing."
Let that sink in. This isn't some random person. This is someone who knew Kim personally, who saw her shortly before her death, claiming she was perfectly healthy. Not exactly the picture of someone about to die from pneumonia, is it? And he didn't stop there. When asked if he believed pneumonia was the real cause of death, this is what he said.
Do you believe that she died of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
That's a pretty bold statement from someone who was once married to Kim. But here's where it gets even wilder. Al B. Sure went on to say he believes his own health crisis might be connected to his vocal questioning of Kim's death. When asked if he thinks Diddy or people affiliated with him did something that caused his multi-organ failure, he said,
"Do you think specifically then that Sean Diddy Combs or people affiliated with him did something to you that caused you to have multi-organ failure?"
I believe this to be the case, yes. Absolutely.
And when the interviewer asked if he was concerned about Diddy still having power while incarcerated, Al B. Sure dropped this bombshell.
Remember, I'm the only one who spoke up, and I'm the only one left alive.
Y'all, that's the kind of statement that sends chills down your spine. It's giving mob movie vibes, except this is supposedly real life. And it's not just Al B. Sure raising questions. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has also come forward with some serious allegations. According to reports, Deal questioned why Porter couldn't contact family during her distress and alleged her body wasn't properly examined. He even hinted that Diddy might have accidentally smothered her, saying, "I don't really want to say what I really believe because what I really believe is that they might have gotten into a little spat, a little fight, or something went down, and Puff did that play fighting stuff that he always do, that pillow fighting stuff, and probably smothered her, but I wouldn't say that on the air." Deal also found it suspicious that she received a massage while reportedly having pneumonia, asking, who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? Good question, right? And if that wasn't weird enough, Deal mentioned hearing rumors that her casket was ordered 2 months before her death. That's not just a red flag, that's a whole red banner. But wait, there's more. In a YouTube interview, we hear some shocking claims about what allegedly happened when Kim Porter's body was found.
First and foremost, in our day and time, other than a house key, a woman gonna keep her phone and she got a lot of different purses, but everybody always grab their phone. Why come right till today, right now, nobody knows what Kim Porter phone is? And they know they had iPhone. Why have nobody went to the cloud and got the text messages and the things off her phone?
This raises a serious question. Where was Kim Porter's phone? And why would it be missing? The interviewee goes on to say,
"I don't believe that an individual with her, I want to say, financial status would lay up in the house and die of pneumonia without a doctor or some kind of medical person responsible."
He even revealed that there was blood on her sheets, which adds a twist to the story.
Why would you take somebody's phone? Why would you take somebody's tablet or her computer? It was some foul play.
Hold up, blood on her sheets, missing electronic devices? That doesn't sound like a natural pneumonia death to me. That sounds like something much more sinister. The interview gets even more chilling when they discuss potential motives.
It's a couple of women in this industry that knows everybody's dirty secret. And if those secrets get exposed and tell what some of these guys and some of these people were really doing behind the closed doors, in the boardroom, in and out the closet, that their life would be in danger.
So the suggestion here is that Kim Porter knew too much. She had information that could potentially ruin powerful people in the industry. And that, my friends, is a tale as old as time. Silence those who could expose your secrets. And let's not forget the controversy surrounding the LAPD's handling of her death. In a video clip, we hear an LAPD detective making contradictory statements.
We'll remain in contact, LAPD homicide, with the doctor. We do not see any foul play at this point, so we'll just keep in contact with the doctor based upon his investigation.
But when asked how they could rule foul play out so quickly, he backtracks.
And how do you rule that out so quickly when it comes to foul play?
No one's ruling out anything at this point. The cause of death is just undetermined because we don't know the cause of death. There's no obvious signs of death upon examining the decedent.
So which is it? No foul play or nothing ruled out? These inconsistencies don't exactly inspire confidence in the investigation, do they? Now, I'm not saying Diddy definitely had something to do with Kim Porter's death. I'm just saying there are a lot of questions that don't seem to have satisfactory answers. And with Diddy currently on trial for other serious allegations, it's natural that these old questions are resurfacing with renewed intensity. But that's not even close to being the end of this rabbit hole, folks. There's another element to this story that's straight out of a thriller movie: the alleged presence of Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's boyfriend, at Kim Porter's house on the day she died. According to social media discussions, a resurfaced photo supposedly shows Corey Gamble at Kim Porter's house before the coroner arrived. Reddit threads suggest that Gamble is a known handler fixer. If these claims are true, and that's a big if, it raises the question of why a fixer would be at Kim Porter's house around the time of her death. Was there something that needed fixing? The rabbit hole goes deeper because in a controversial book that became a bestseller and was banned within days might be the reason Kim Porter was allegedly murdered. Diddy's pattern of abuse and the tell-all book. Diddy has a publicly known pattern of abuse against women in his life. First, let's talk about the surveillance video that shook the internet. Released by CNN in May 2024, it shows Diddy physically assaulting Cassie Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles on March 5, 2016. The footage is absolutely horrifying, showing him grabbing, shoving, dragging, and kicking her. It's the kind of violence that makes your stomach turn. After the video went public, Diddy issued a public apology stating,
"My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now."
But let's be real, is an apology enough for that level of violence? That's like setting someone's house on fire and then saying sorry like it fixes everything. The damage is done. This video lends credibility to Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy, which she filed in November 2023. In it, she alleged years of physical and sexual abuse, including being forced into drug-fueled activities called freak-offs. Cassie settled her lawsuit against Diddy for $20 million and another with the hotel for $10 million related to the 2016 assault. But here's where it gets really disturbing. In Diddy's ongoing trial, Cassie has testified about the horrific abuse she endured, including being coerced into these freak-offs while under the influence of drugs like ecstasy and cocaine. She described feeling like basically a sex worker, a statement that was later struck from the record. Other witnesses have stepped forward too. Dawn Richard testified that Diddy threatened to make her disappear after she saw him beat Cassie, supporting RICO charges of abuse and witness intimidation. Cassie's mother, Regina Ventura, also provided damning testimony, recalling being physically sick over Combs' threats to hurt her daughter and release a private recording. So we have established evidence of Diddy's violence toward at least one former partner. But what about Kim Porter? Were there similar patterns of abuse in their relationship? According to Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, there absolutely were. Deal alleged that Diddy physically abused Porter, including an incident where she injured Diddy with a corkscrew in self-defense, which he claimed led to Diddy's drug abuse. When she split his wrist open, he had so much pain he never got off those opioids, Deal stated. Mark Curry, a former Bad Boy artist, has also made specific allegations about Diddy's treatment of Kim Porter. In an interview, Curry confirmed that Diddy broke Porter's nose, stating, "Busted her nose, man." He linked this to Diddy's insecurities, saying it was all insecurities. Curry also alleged that Diddy wiretapped Porter's phone, describing it as a sign of insanity, and suggested that such behavior indicated a pattern of control, noting, anytime a man would go out of his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their home just to monitor their conversations, that's a sign of insanity. And here's Mark Curry in his own words.
"They tried to make it seem like she slipped and fell. she slipped and fell and broke her nose. The truth was she slipped and fell and landed on his fist.
Imagine being so obsessed with controlling someone that you tap their phones. That's not a relationship, that's a prison. But then there's that controversial book, Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side. The book claims to be based on Kim Porter's diary entries and makes some explosive allegations about Diddy's behavior, including claims of physical abuse like breaking her nose on a yacht. But here's the thing, Kim Porter's children have publicly denounced the book as fake. They've been clear that they believe there was no foul play in their mother's death, while Kim Porter's children have denounced it as fake. The publisher, Chris Todd, who used the pseudonym Jamal T. Millwood, stands by it. In an interview with The Art of Dialogue, Todd claimed he received a flash drive with Porter's writings from sources close to her and Combs. He defends the book's authenticity, asserting the allegations are from Porter's own words and that he has additional evidence, including tapes that could shut down the entertainment industry if released. I was given the memoir, 60 pages. I was also given a photo and told if I wanted access to the Diddy tapes, I could have that also. I know the celebrity source pretty well. I know how close they were to Kim and Diddy and all the people in the hip-hop community, Todd said. The book allegedly contains diary entries detailing Porter's experiences with Diddy, including claims of physical abuse, such as the yacht incident where he allegedly broke her nose. It also describes Diddy's lavish parties, which according to the alleged memoir, were nothing more than elaborate adult gatherings. One excerpt from the book says, "I got to do things with Sean I would never have been able to do with a straight man. I woke up and left the bedroom where I was, and Sean happened to be coming out of the bedroom with a chart-topping rapper and the woman's husband." The memoir also allegedly details disturbing incidents of physical abuse that Diddy inflicted on Kim. According to the book, Kim describes multiple instances of violence, including the first time Diddy hit her after she refused his intimate requests. She also recounts an alleged incident at her apartment where Diddy forcefully slammed her to the ground and threatened her with a gun, saying, "You're mine. You don't have a choice in that now. I can't live without you." Former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry also exposed Diddy's violent behavior, claiming that during a heated altercation on a yacht, Diddy broke Kim Porter's nose. That's not an accident. That's assault, plain and simple. But the credibility of this alleged memoir is hotly disputed. Porter's children released a statement saying, "Claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue," and they criticized anyone claiming to have a manuscript. One of Kim Porter's closest friends, Ebony Electra, has also denied the book's contents. According to Electra, Kim didn't leave behind any manuscripts and everything in the memoir was fabricated. She took to Instagram saying, "Now it's getting out of hand. There is no book. There never was." Several people continue to speak about and spread blatant lies regarding this mystery manuscript as if it were true. People, it's not. Kim would never do such a thing. And that's the honest-to-God truth. God knows the truth, and so does she. However, the book's co-author has revealed that the source of the material was a close friend of Diddy and Kim Porter. So who's telling the truth? It's hard to say definitively, but given the established pattern of abuse that Diddy displayed toward Cassie, captured on video no less, it's not a stretch to imagine he might have treated Kim Porter similarly. Now let's talk about those alleged tapes that have the potential to rock the entertainment industry. Attorney Ariel Mitchell Kidd has claimed the existence of 3 explosive private recordings featuring Diddy and 3 A-list celebrities. During a recent interview, Mitchell Kidd made a startling claim.
I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes.
Mitchell Kidd, who has previously represented accusers in high-profile cases, stated that these individuals also mentioned a 4th tape. This particular recording reportedly does not feature Diddy, but involves another celebrity in a compromising situation, allegedly filmed at one of Combs' homes. When asked to confirm if there are indeed tapes being shopped around, Mitchell Kidd responded,
"There already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood."
And when questioned about who might be on these tapes, Mitchell Kidd said,
"Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs."
There's wide speculation that one tape features Justin Bieber and Diddy, which the attorney seemed to confirm with her statement about a more high-profile person than Combs. Now, I want to be clear. We don't have concrete evidence that these tapes exist or what's on them, but the allegations are serious and coming from a credible legal professional. If these tapes do exist, they could potentially shed light on Diddy's behavior and relationships, possibly including his relationship with Kim Porter. Speaking of recordings, Chris Todd, the publisher of the alleged Kim Porter memoir, claims that Porter kept copies of Diddy's tapes as leverage. In an interview, Todd stated, "If I was to release those tapes, the world will shut down. They'll grind down the industry. Could this be a motive for foul play?" If Kim Porter had damaging recordings of Diddy and was threatening to release them, it's not hard to imagine someone wanting to silence her. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's certainly a possibility that many are considering. But let's go back to Diddy's trial for a moment. The evidence being presented there paints a disturbing picture of a man who is willing to use violence and intimidation to control the women in his life. Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent Gerard Gannon testified about a March 25, 2024 raid on Combs' Miami Beach home, showing photos of items found including lingerie, platform high heels, Arkansas, 15 parts, and loaded magazines with scratched out serial numbers. The defense, led by attorney Mark Agnifilo, acknowledges Combs' temper and physicality, but argues that his actions with ex-girlfriends, including Ventura, were part of consensual yet toxic relationships, not meeting the criteria for trafficking or racketeering. That's like saying a bank robbery was just an unauthorized withdrawal. It's an attempt to minimize serious allegations and reframe them in a way that sounds less criminal. Now let's circle back to Kim Porter and what might have happened to her. One explosive claim comes from singer Jaguar Wright, who has linked Porter's death to others associated with Diddy, suggesting a pattern of mysterious deaths among those planning to expose information. In a 2022 video, Wright revealed that Porter, Andre Harrell, and Heavy D died under suspicious circumstances, noting that 3 of the 4 founding members of Uptown Records, Porter, Harrell, Heavy D, were planning to write books before their deaths.
Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
Later in the same video, she questions,
has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone.
Is this all just coincidence? Maybe, but it's certainly a pattern that raises eyebrows. The allegations from Al B. Sure, Gene Deal, Jaguar Wright, and others paint a picture of a man who might have been willing to go to extreme lengths to protect his reputation and secrets. And with the video evidence of his violence toward Cassie, it's not hard to imagine that Diddy might have been violent toward Kim Porter as well. But there's a more sinister conspiracy theory that has been going around, that Diddy is being set up by powerful people who he crossed. The conspiracy, the trial, and the truth. Let's talk about Diddy's battle with Diageo, one of the world's largest liquor companies. This isn't just about business. It might provide crucial context for understanding Diddy's current legal predicament. In May 2023, Diddy filed a lawsuit against Diageo, accusing the company of engaging in a pattern of racial discrimination. Diddy claimed that the company had systematically neglected his Ciroc vodka and De Leon tequila brands, favoring other brands instead. According to the court documents, Diddy alleged that Diageo had labeled his products as black brands and only marketed them to urban customers. The lawsuit also included a shocking allegation involving Stephen Rust, Diageo's president of reserve and new business. Diddy claimed that in 2019, Rust told him that his race was the reason the company limited the neighborhoods where his products were sold. Diageo strongly denied these claims and described Diddy's lawsuit as a baseless complaint, accusing him of bad faith actions that breached his contracts. Just a month after the lawsuit was filed in June 2023, Diageo announced it was ending its 15-year partnership with Diddy. The company stated that Diddy's bad faith actions had left them no choice but to terminate the business relationship. In October 2023, Diddy filed a new lawsuit against Diageo, accusing the company of unlawful retaliation. According to Diddy, Diageo had blackballed him from the spirits industry following his initial racial discrimination suit. He claimed that Diageo had instructed distributors and retailers of De Leon tequila not to communicate with him about his own brand. Diageo responded by accusing Diddy of attempting to extract funds from them, despite their significant investment in the marketing and development of De Leon tequila. Diageo claimed to have invested tens of millions of dollars in the brand, while Diddy had only contributed $1,000. Then, in January 2024, the legal battle reached a surprising conclusion. Diddy and Diageo announced that they had settled their dispute. Diddy withdrew all his allegations against Diageo in a joint statement and agreed to dismiss his lawsuits. But according to 50 Cent, this was just the beginning of Diddy's troubles. In a candid interview on the Earn Your Leisure podcast, 50 Cent shared his perspective on Diddy's escalating legal problems and suggested that Diddy's issues were accelerated due to his previous lawsuit against Diageo.
It's great for us to work for them. It's not so cool when you start to own things. I made a lot of money with them too. Like they did a deal that mirrored what Puffy's deal with Diageo was for Ciroc. So he didn't have ownership of that at any point.
According to 50 Cent, Diddy's problems started when he purchased De Leon tequila and tried to profit from his own alcohol brand.
When you see him go to De Leon is when you see him have some issues.
And he didn't stop there. 50 Cent suggested that Diddy's battle with Diageo may have accelerated his current legal troubles.
It gets bad, and these people have really strong relationships. Don't think that the civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case faster because he's making that them uncomfortable.
This raises an interesting question. Could powerful figures in the liquor industry have played a role in Diddy's downfall? It's certainly a possibility worth considering. Diddy had been involved in controversial behavior for years, but it wasn't until after his battle with Diageo that the legal walls started closing in. Now, let's shift our focus back to the current trial. Diddy is facing serious charges of trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted, he could face life imprisonment. The trial has featured extensive testimony from Cassie Ventura, who took the stand for 4 days, describing in emotional detail years of beatings and drug-fueled abuse. Other witnesses, including Regina Ventura, Cassie's mother, and Dawn Richard, have corroborated her accounts of abuse and intimidation. One particularly disturbing aspect of the testimony involves what Cassie has described as freak-offs, drug-fueled sexual encounters that Diddy allegedly forced her to participate in. According to Cassie, these events made her feel like basically a sex worker. Now, let's connect this back to Kim Porter. If these allegations about Diddy's behavior are true, and the video evidence of his assault on Cassie certainly lends them credibility, it raises serious questions about how he might have treated other women in his life, including Kim Porter. The alleged memoir claims that Kim Porter participated in similar activities with Diddy, though there's no concrete evidence to support this. What we do have are the testimonies of people like Gene Deal and Mark Curry, who have alleged that Diddy was physically abusive toward Porter. What we do know is that Diddy is currently on trial for serious charges, and the evidence being presented paints a disturbing picture of a man who was willing to use violence and intimidation to control the women in his life. And remember, it wasn't that long ago that the footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie seemed like an urban legend, something people whispered about but never thought would see the light of day. When that video was released, it confirmed what many had alleged for years. Could there be similar evidence related to Kim Porter? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this video, click on the cards playing on your screen to watch similar content.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
It seems trouble has set up camp on Diddy's doorstep, with not one, not two, but a whopping 5 lawsuits knocking on his door in just 5 months.
Now to the latest legal drama involving rapper and music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. A new lawsuit filed by a producer and videographer.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing new allegations of sexual assault. This time, a woman claims the rapper drugged and sexually assaulted her in New York City back in 1991.
Talk about a legal limbo. And if that's not enough drama for you, federal agents decided to join the party by raiding 2 of his properties in LA and Miami. These raids aren't just raising eyebrows, they're raising the roof on Diddy's house of controversies.
Certainly, these Homeland Security officers were looking for evidence of crimes. So, for example, P. Diddy has been accused of sex trafficking. He's also been accused of non-consensual pornography.
The rumor mill is spinning faster than a DJ's turntable at a rooftop party. What went down in those raids? Was it a case of mistaken identity or a Hollywood heist worthy of its own screenplay? Find out all the details in this video. House raids. Let's start by taking a closer look at the dramatic events that unfolded at Diddy's Los Angeles area home. The scene was nothing short of chaotic as law enforcement descended upon the property with a force that seemed straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. An exclusive report obtained by TMZ shows the entire area surrounding Diddy's home shut down, with helicopters swirling overhead and a multitude of police officers on the ground. The sheer scale of the operation was mind-boggling. Reports indicate that the raid was led by agents from Homeland Security Investigations New York, with assistance from HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. The involvement of federal agencies only adds to the gravity of the situation. Law enforcement sources have revealed that the Southern District of New York is handling this case, and it appears to be connected to sex trafficking allegations that have been leveled against Diddy in recent months by multiple people. These allegations have cast a dark shadow over the music mogul's reputation and have now led to this high-stakes raid. As the helicopters swarmed above, armed agents were seen on the ground, moving swiftly and purposefully. The intensity of the situation was evident as law enforcement officers combed through the property, searching for evidence related to the allegations. In a shocking twist, video footage posted by Fox showed several individuals in handcuffs near the property. To the astonishment of many, 2 of them appeared to be Diddy's own sons, Justin and King Combs. But the drama didn't end there. Additional footage obtained by TMZ revealed that federal agents had even arrived at Diddy's property via water. Armed agents were seen standing on a boat, ready to assist in the raid. The level of preparation and coordination coordination displayed by law enforcement was truly remarkable. Meanwhile, in the front of the house, people were being questioned, adding to the air of mystery surrounding the investigation. The identities of these individuals and their connection to Diddy and the alleged crimes remain unknown, leaving the public hungry for answers. While the chaos unfolded on the West Coast, federal agents also descended upon Diddy's luxurious Miami residence. Local law enforcement worked in tandem with Homeland Security investigations to execute the operation. Just like in Los Angeles, law enforcement officers were seen walking through the house with guns drawn. The gravity of the situation was evident as they searched for any evidence that could shed light on the alleged sex trafficking activities. Simultaneously, federal authorities were present at the Florida property. The synchronized raids on both coasts of America only served to emphasize the seriousness of the allegations against Diddy. Law enforcement sources have revealed that Diddy was in the Miami area when the raids were taking place. This revelation raises questions about his potential involvement in the alleged activities under investigation. Was he aware of what was happening in his own homes, or was he caught off guard by the sudden and dramatic turn of events? As the raid unfolded, investigators seized Diddy's phones. The exact number of devices or phones seized remains unclear, but this action suggests that law enforcement is leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of evidence. What information could be contained within those devices? Could it provide crucial evidence to support the allegations? The involvement of federal agencies, the presence of armed law enforcement personnel, and the simultaneous raids on both coasts have left the public in a state of shock. The magnitude of the investigation and the potential implications for Diddy's reputation and career cannot be overstated. The Homeland Security Investigations New York confirmed the raid in a statement, emphasizing that it was part of an ongoing investigation. HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and local law enforcement partners all played a crucial role in executing the operation. The statement provided little detail, leaving the public hungry for more information about the allegations and the potential consequences for Diddy. Diddy was later questioned at a private airport in Miami. He showed up at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport around 6 p.m. Diddy was seen walking around nervously after being questioned by customs agents. However, as of Monday evening, he was still a free man. At his California home, a neighbor spoke to Daily Mail about the wild parties at Diddy's mansion. Ryan Mendelsohn, who lives nearby, described seeing many beautiful women being brought to the house late at night. He mentioned seeing fancy cars and girls in swimsuits arriving between 1 and 3 a.m. Mendelsohn assumed these were women coming to a famous man's after party following a night out in LA. He's never personally seen Diddy with women, but after the charges and the raid, he thinks it's more suspicious. About a month ago, on a Saturday, there were a lot of SUVs dropping people off along the street. He mentioned that parties happened in the neighborhood not just on weekends, but all week long. Even on a Tuesday night in Beverly Hills, there's a party happening from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. He thinks these parties often lead to bad outcomes. During the raids on Monday, a sightseeing bus drove by the mansion, and people took photos and asked the media for information, creating a typical Hollywood scene. While we wait for more information, let's look at the sexual assault lawsuits filed against Diddy in the past months. Let's start by diving deep into the explosive lawsuit filed by R&B singer Cassie Diddy. To understand the gravity of the situation, let's take a look at the timeline and key events that led up to Cassie's courageous decision to take legal action against Diddy. It all began in 2005 when Cassie first crossed paths with Diddy. At the time, she was just 19, and in 2006, Diddy expressed romantic interest in her. According to the lawsuit, Diddy lured Cassie into what she initially perceived as a fatherly, protective relationship. However, she soon found herself trapped in an unequal and violent sexual relationship. As Cassie's star began to rise, Diddy's control over her life tightened. In 2007, she signed a deal with Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Records, which only served to intensify his grip on her. He allegedly exerted complete control over every aspect of her life, from her apartment to her car, clothing, and even her medical records. This level of control was designed to keep her under his thumb and ensure her compliance. The lawsuit alleges that Diddy's abusive behavior was witnessed by his staff and employees, yet no one dared to speak up against their frightening boss. Cassie, fearing the consequences of going to the police, suffered in silence. She believed that involving the authorities would only give Diddy another excuse to hurt her. In 2009, the abuse reached a horrifying peak. Diddy allegedly kicked Cassie repeatedly in the face, causing her to bleed. His staff then hid her away in a hotel room, shielding her from the outside world. But even in hiding, Diddy's vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her. Those who worked for his companies implored her to return, going as far as to explicitly state that her failure to do so would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. Throughout her relationship with Diddy, Cassie suffered from memory loss due to copious substance use and experienced suicidal ideation. The court papers even mention an instance where MRI results went directly to Diddy, further showing his control over her life. The lawsuit takes an even more shocking turn when it reveals that Diddy forced Cassie to take part in what he called freak-offs. These were arrangements where she had no choice but to plan and engage in sex acts with male sex workers while he watched and filmed. These encounters took place in high-end hotels across the country and occurred as often as once a week. Cassie would delete videos shot on her phone, desperately trying to erase the evidence of these horrific encounters. But Diddy's control over her was so extensive that she was forced to watch footage she thought she had gotten rid of on a flight. In 2012, Diddy's alleged retaliation against rapper Kid Cudi, who briefly dated Cassie, came to light. The lawsuit claims that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car in his driveway as a form of revenge. Kid Cudi himself confirmed the account, stating that it was true. The final straw came in 2018, when Diddy allegedly forced his way into Cassie's home and raped her. Despite her repeated objections and attempts to push him away, he ignored her pleas. This traumatic incident led Cassie to finally leave him for good and sever her association with Bad Boy Records in 2019. Just one day after Cassie filed the lawsuit, a surprising turn of events occurred. Cassie and Diddy reached a settlement, choosing to resolve the matter amicably. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed to the public, leaving many curious about what led to this sudden resolution. By settling out of court, Diddy managed to avoid the potential release of damaging evidence during the legal discovery process. In a statement on November 18th, Diddy expressed his well wishes to Cassie and her family, stating, "I wish Cassie and her family all the best." Diddy's lawyer, Ben Brafman, stated that the settlement does not undermine Diddy's flat-out denial of the claims. He further clarified that the decision to settle was a mutual one, and Diddy was happy that they were able to reach a resolution. Cassie's civil suit was brought under the Adult Survivors Act. This New York law allows victims of sexual abuse who were 18 or older at the time of the abuse to bring cases within a one-year window after the expiration of any statutes of limitation. Cassie's decision to file the lawsuit and settle within this window allowed her to confront her abuser and hold him accountable for his actions. The music industry reacted strongly to the allegations against Diddy. Singer-songwriter Tiffany Red published an open letter in Rolling Stone, corroborating Cassie's claims and sharing her own experiences with Diddy's abusive behavior. Red revealed that she became close to Cassie in 2015 while writing an album that Diddy never released. She witnessed firsthand the verbal abuse Cassie endured at her 29th birthday party. She even saw Diddy drag a drugged Cassie to a freak-off in the middle of the night. 50 Cent wasted no time in responding to the settlement. He announced that he would be working on a documentary about Diddy's sexual assault allegations. In a tweet on December 7th, 50 Cent confirmed that the proceeds from the documentary, produced by G-Unit Film and Television, would go to victims of sexual assault and rape. The documentary aims to raise awareness about these issues and support those who have been affected. The music industry also saw a notable response from Kesha. She changed the lyrics of her chart-topping 2009 hit TikTok in response to the allegations against Diddy. The original lyrics opened with the line, "Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy." But in a performance on November 19th, Kesha changed it to "Wake up in the morning feeling like me." This change was seen as a symbolic gesture of solidarity with Cassie and the victims of sexual abuse. Former Danity Kane member Aubrey O'Day, who was formed by Diddy on MTV's Making the Band in 2005, expressed her support for Cassie. She took to Twitter, stating that she had been trying to raise awareness about Diddy's behavior for some time. Dawn Richard, another former member of Danity. Kane also shared a message of support for Cassie, praying for her and her family's peace and healing. Other sexual assault lawsuits. Days after settling with Cassie, a second lawsuit was filed against Diddy. According to court documents obtained by USA Today, Dickerson Neal filed her complaint in Manhattan Supreme Court just a day before the New York State Adult Survivors Act expiration date. Dickerson Neal alleges that in 1991, when she was a college student at Syracuse University, she reluctantly agreed to have dinner with Diddy during a school break for the holidays. However, what was supposed to be a simple dinner turned into a nightmare for Dickerson Neal. During their date, Dickerson Neal claims that Diddy intentionally drugged her, rendering her physically unable to stand or walk independently. The lawsuit states that Diddy spiked her drink when she briefly left it unattended to use the restroom. After dinner, Diddy and Dickerson Neal continued to spend the night together. She recalls being taken to a music studio and then to Diddy's home, where the sexual assault allegedly took place. Despite feeling humiliated and hurt, Dickerson Neal found herself trapped and unable to escape the assault. The lawsuit further reveals a chilling detail. A male friend identified as Devontae Swing, a member of the R&B group Jodeci, allegedly revealed to Dickerson Neal that he had viewed a sex tape of the assault along with other men. When she asked who had seen the video, his response was simply, "Everyone." Diddy, through a spokesperson, denies the allegations, stating that Dickerson Neal's 32-year-old story is fabricated and lacks credibility. The spokesperson further claims that the lawsuit is nothing more than a money grab, asserting that Diddy never assaulted Dickerson Neal and that the companies implicated in the suit did not even exist at the time of the alleged assault. Despite Diddy's denial, Dickerson Neal's attorney, Jonathan Goldhirsch, stands stands firm in his client's claims. He emphasizes that the lawsuit was filed under the New York State Adult Survivors Act, which provides a one-year window for victims of sexual abuse to seek justice. Goldhirsch asserts that Dickerson Neal's decision to come forward is a courageous step towards holding Diddy accountable for his actions. The legal battle between Dickerson Neal and Diddy is ongoing. The lawsuit names Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, and Diddy Enterprises as defendants. Blackburn asserts that his client's life has been irreparably damaged since he agreed to produce Diddy's album in August 2022. Lil Rod alleges that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement with Diddy, which led him to live with the media mogul for extended periods in Los Angeles, New York City, Miami, and even on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He said, "Throughout my time with Mr. Combs, I witnessed, experienced, and endured things that went far beyond my role as a producer on the Love album." Lil Rod describes himself as a heterosexual Christian man who claims to have been the victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Diddy. He expressed his discomfort with Diddy's advances to Diddy's chief of staff, who allegedly dismissed his concerns with the statement, "You know, Sean will be Sean." Blackburn goes as far as comparing Coram to Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Lil Rod said, "I was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and I expressed my complaints, but it seemed like nobody cared." Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy attempted to groom him into engaging in homosexual acts with fellow producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, also known as Stevie J. In a shocking twist, Diddy promised to ensure that Lil Rod would win the Producer of the Year award at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. But perhaps the most damning evidence in Lil Rod's possession is the alleged footage he obtained. Lil Rod claims to have captured people involved in sexual activity at Diddy's home, which he believes was recorded through hidden cameras scattered throughout Diddy's properties. As the scandal surrounding Diddy and Lil Rod continued to unfold, even more shocking allegations came to light. Lil Rod claims that he was not only a victim of Diddy's alleged misconduct, but also of sexual assault by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, who was romantically involved with Diddy. Additionally, Lil Rod alleges that he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod further claims to have obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer engaging in inappropriate activities with underage girls and sex workers. The names of these individuals have been redacted from the complaint, leaving the public in suspense about their identities. However, perhaps the most alarming revelation is Lil Rod's assertion that Diddy possesses compromising footage of every person who has. Grab and unsubstantiated, these accusations cannot be ignored. The lawsuit not only names Diddy and Hall, but also includes MCA Music Entertainment Group and Geffen Records as defendants. A fourth lawsuit, filed in New York federal court, alleges that Diddy, along with former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harve Pierre, raped the accuser when she was a minor at the time. The shocking incident is said to have taken place in 2003 when the accuser was only 17 years old. The complaint also mentions a third unnamed assailant. According to the complaint, Diddy, who was 34 years old at the time, convinced the woman, referred to as Jane Doe, to fly from Detroit to New York City on his private jet. Once in the city, she was taken to Diddy's recording studio, where she claims to have been plied with drugs and alcohol to the point where she could not possibly have consented to any sexual activity. It is alleged that while at the studio, Jane Doe was subjected to a horrifying ordeal. She claims to have been gang raped by Diddy, the third assailant, and Harve Pierre in that order. The complaint even includes pictures of Jane Doe with Diddy at the recording studio. In response to the lawsuit, Diddy released a statement denying the allegations, stating that he did not commit any of the awful things being alleged. He expressed his frustration at the attempts to assassinate his character and destroy his reputation. A few months later, producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones came forward with his own shocking allegations against Diddy. In a bombshell lawsuit, Lil Rod accuses Diddy of sexual assault, illicit behavior, and even threats against his life. But that's not all. Lil Rod claims to have obtained incriminating footage that exposes Diddy and several of his associates engaged in these disturbing acts. Lil Rod, who played a pivotal role in producing Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album Off the Grid, filed a federal lawsuit seeking a staggering $30 million in damages. The lawsuit names not only Diddy, but also his son Justin Dior Combs, Universal Music Group Chief Executive Lucian Charles Grange, former Motown Records Chief Executive Ethiopia Habtemariam, Chalice Recording Studios, Love Records, Combs Enterprises, and Diddy's Chief of Staff Christina K.K. Coram as defendants. According to Lil Rod, this extensive network of involvement amounts to a violation of the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone A. Blackburn, asserts that his client's life has been irreparably damaged since he agreed to produce Diddy's album in August 2022. Lil Rod alleges that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement with Diddy, which led him to live with the media mogul for extended periods in Los Angeles, New York City, Miami, and even on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He said, "Throughout my time with Mr. Combs, I witnessed, experienced, and endured heard things that went far beyond my role as a producer on the Love album. Lil Rod describes himself as a heterosexual Christian man who claims to have been the victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Diddy. He expressed his discomfort with Diddy's advances to Diddy's chief of staff, who allegedly dismissed his concerns with the statement, "You know, Sean will be Sean." Blackburn goes as far as comparing Coram to Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Lil Rod said, "I was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and I expressed my complaints, but it seemed like nobody cared." Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy attempted to groom him into engaging in homosexual acts with fellow producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, also known as Stevie J. In a shocking twist, Diddy promised to ensure that Lil Rod would win the Producer of the Year award at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. But perhaps the most damning evidence in Lil Rod's possession is the alleged footage he obtained. Lil Rod claims to have captured people involved in sexual activity at Diddy's home, which he believes was recorded through hidden cameras scattered throughout Diddy's properties. As the scandal surrounding Diddy and Lil Rod continued to unfold, even more shocking allegations came to light. Lil Rod claims that he was not only a victim of Diddy's alleged misconduct, but also of sexual assault by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, who was romantically involved with Diddy. Additionally, Lil Rod alleges that he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod further claims to have obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer engaging in inappropriate activities with underage girls and sex workers. The names of these individuals have been redacted from the complaint, leaving the public in suspense about their identities. However, perhaps the most alarming revelation is Lil Rod's assertion that Diddy possesses compromising footage of every person who has attended his infamous parties. This treasure trove of evidence allegedly gives Diddy a sense of invincibility, as he believes he is above the law. In response to these explosive allegations, Diddy's attorney, Sean Hawley, has vehemently denied the claims, calling Lil Rod a liar and accusing him of seeking an undeserved payday. Hawley asserts that they have overwhelming proof that Lil Rod's claims are complete lies. Hawley further claims that their attempts to share this proof with Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Blackburn refuses to return their calls. The legal battle between the two parties is set to unfold in court, with Diddy vowing to take all appropriate action against those who make these outlandish allegations. Let's explore how some of Sean Diddy Combs' previous legal troubles have played out. In 2010, Francesca Sparrow, a music executive in her 50s, filed a lawsuit against Diddy alleging age discrimination. Sparrow had been a dedicated employee of Diddy since 1998, working tirelessly to contribute to his success. However, her loyalty and commitment were shattered when she was fired from her position. Sparrow claimed that her termination was solely based on her age. She alleged that Diddy and his company had engaged in age discrimination, depriving her of the opportunity to continue working for the mogul she had dedicated years of her life to. Diddy's legal representative argued that Sparrow's firing was a result of legitimate business decisions and performance-related issues. They maintained that age played no role in the decision-making process, emphasizing that Diddy valued diversity and inclusivity within his organization. After months of intense litigation, the parties involved finally reached a turning point. Diddy made the decision to settle the multi-million-dollar lawsuit in 2011, bringing an end to the legal dispute. The specific terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed, leaving many to speculate about the financial implications for Diddy. Another recent lawsuit filed against Diddy is infamously known as the paparazzo assault lawsuit. On 2011 New Year's Eve, Gustavo Garces, armed with his camera, positioned himself outside the Dream Hotel in Miami. According to Garces, Diddy's bodyguards aggressively confronted him, forcibly preventing him from taking pictures. The situation quickly escalated into a physical altercation, with Garces finding himself on the receiving end of the bodyguard's aggression. Garces alleged that he was subjected to a brutal assault, enduring punches, kicks, and verbal abuse from Diddy's bodyguards. In the aftermath of the assault, Garces took a stand against the violence he experienced. He filed a lawsuit against Diddy, seeking justice for the harm inflicted upon him. Garces' attorney argued that the assault was unprovoked and unjustified. They maintained that Diddy's bodyguards had crossed the line, using excessive force to prevent Garces from doing his job as a paparazzo. The lawsuit sought to hold Diddy and his team accountable for their actions. After 6 years of legal proceedings, a settlement was finally reached in 2017. Gustavo Garces agreed to receive $35,000 in exchange for releasing Diddy, his bodyguards, and their insurance company from any further liability. In 2017, Cindy Rueda, a former personal chef for Diddy, came forward with allegations of sexual harassment and unfair working conditions. Cindy Rueda had the opportunity to work closely with Diddy in 2015. However, her experience took a dark turn when she claimed to have been subjected to sexual harassment and exploitative working conditions. Rueda alleged that Diddy made inappropriate comments and requests, creating a hostile work environment. She claimed that he once asked her to cook a post-coital meal and even went as far as inquiring about her attraction to his naked body. Diddy's spokesperson swiftly responded to the allegations, denying Rueda's claims. They described her as a disgruntled ex-employee and dismissed her accusations as baseless. The spokesperson maintained that Diddy had always fostered a respectful and inclusive work environment. After a lengthy legal battle, Rueda and Diddy reached a settlement in 2019. The specific terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. In 2022, Raven Wales Walden, a former nanny working for Diddy, filed a wrongful termination lawsuit, alleging discrimination and retaliation. Wales Walden found herself entangled in a legal dispute with Diddy after what she claims was an unjust termination. Wales Walden alleged that she was wrongfully fired after disclosing her pregnancy in 2020, citing discrimination as the motive behind her dismissal. Adding another layer of complexity to the case, Wales Walden also asserted that she was the niece of Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner. She claimed that her familial connection to Porter played a role in the discrimination she faced and the subsequent termination. In a press conference, Wales Walden and her legal team spoke out against the alleged mistreatment she endured while working for Diddy. Diddy responded to the allegations, denying any wrongdoing. His spokesperson stated that Wales Walden was not related to Kim Porter and that her termination was based on legitimate reasons unrelated to her pregnancy. They labeled the lawsuit as a meritless shakedown to extort money from Diddy. The wrongful termination lawsuit filed by Raven Wales Walden against Diddy is currently ongoing in the Los Angeles County Superior Court. As of now, the court has yet to reach a verdict or settlement in the case. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.